And we're still working with him, trying to get him to understand what death is, but he doesn't understand it at all still. Hello folks and welcome to today's vlog. As you can see, today's vlog is very much a hiding out in the garage vlog, because it is probably the most tense day that we're going to have all year in the house, and it's not really fit for camera and vlogging. And Anna's exams, her final exams for the first semester of uni in her second year, they are tomorrow as you're watching this, so she is in full on revision mode. She's literally just been sat at that computer for like 4 days solidly now, just working. She is working so hard, but it does mean that she doesn't want to be on camera. She's not the most cheerful mood you can possibly imagine, obviously, because she is sleep deprived and stressed and just generally wants to be left alone to do her own thing. So we're going to have a day off from opening advent calendars and stuff like that today. And there's something that I wanted to talk to you about. Specifically, I wanted to talk about going back to Nottingham. But first, we have made a little bit more progress on Amy's bedroom. We were painting it yesterday. I've got a few shots that I can layer over this just to show you how we're getting on. So we've been working on this for a little while. We've cleared it out. We've cleared the wallpaper off. We've got rid of all the furniture. The latest task is we've done the first coat of paint on the wall. I say we, the girls have done most of the work while I basically did the high bits, but they wanted to do it themselves, and I'm not going to discourage them from learning how to do stuff like that. So we've done the first coat of that. We should be doing the second coat tomorrow. If we need a third coat, we'll do it Thursday, and we're hoping to get all the new furniture, which has now been delivered. We're hoping to get the new furniture set up at the weekend. So hopefully we're going to be at the point where at least the room is livable again. It still won't have curtains or the new rug thing that she's going to have over the carpet. We've not bought her any new bedding yet for the double bed that she's getting rather than the single that she had previously. So there's still bits. It will look very bare. It will look like an IKEA showroom, and there's going to be no personalisation. It won't look like a person's living in there, but it'll be possible for her to move back into it again, which is the most important thing. So that's going reasonably well. But Nottingham, those of you who've been watching for a little while will know that we used to have a routine every time it was basically Andy's reward for going back to school. Back when he was still refusing to go to school and he had his 18 months off school, one of the ways we got him back is by giving him the reward that if he did a complete sort of 6-week half term at school, in the school holidays that followed, we'd take him to Nottingham, and it became a thing. The first Saturday after he broke up for the school holidays, he'd go to Nottingham, he'd have a great time, he loved it. But then it kind of, that routine got thrown out of whack, got thrown out of sequence back in the summer when Anna's mum was ill and in hospital, and we had to go to Nottingham a lot. We were there, I think we stayed 4 or 5 nights in a hotel over there, spread out over like a 2 or 3 week period. There were day trips back and forth as well in there. He was back and forth to Nottingham a lot, and he loved it. He loved being able to be in Nottingham. He loved staying in the hotels. It's where his love of Premier Inns and hotels came from. And he kind of got overdosed on Nottingham almost, and was very into it all the time. Now, obviously, that story ended with Anna's mum passing away back in July, and that's one of the reasons we've not actually been back since. Well, I've been back. I've been there a couple of times for work things, but Anna and Andy haven't been back to Nottingham. Well, Anna hasn't been back since her mum's funeral. Andy hasn't been back since the day she died, or the day after, when we were in the hotel, and we came back, and we haven't been back since. So neither of them have been to Nottingham since July. It's now December, so Andy missed his trip to Nottingham in October at the end of that half term. It was a very busy time anyway, so we kind of got away with it a little bit, but he has been asking a lot, and we're now approaching the end of another half term, and we can't delay him any longer. He really wants to go back, but our worry, and it is, again, the worry is one of the reasons we've not been back, because we're going to have to do it differently. It's going to have to be a different routine, because our routine when we went to Nottingham was always, we would drive over there, drive to one of the park and ride places, go and do the stuff that he likes to do on the trams. There's a couple of tram stops he particularly likes to go to, so we go to those. He films the trams a bit. We then head into the city centre. He rides up and down in the lifts in the shopping centres. We take him to McDonald's or Burger King sometimes. We might go and have something to eat ourselves. I might nip into a comic book shop. But then it always ended with me getting back on the tram and heading back to the car, while Anna and Andy went off to the bus station and got a bus out to Anna's mum's house, and then we'd all meet up back at Anna's mum's house and spend an hour or two there with Anna's family. Now, we're not going to do that part this time, obviously, because she's not there anymore. But Andy doesn't understand that. He still hasn't fully grasped the concept that she's gone. When we mentioned to him that we're going to Nottingham this weekend, one of the first things he said was, go see Mammar. He basically went through that full routine for the day. So he told us about the trams, told us about the lifts, told us we were going to go and see Mammar on the bus. And he doesn't understand that it has to change. It's going to be different this time. We're trying to explain it to him, and we're still working with him, trying to get him to understand what death is. But he doesn't understand it at all still. And it's going to be a challenging day. Both from that point of view, with us trying to help Andy through the day, but also for Anna. Like I say, she's not been back since the day of her mum's funeral, and it's going to be a hard day for her. Even if Andy wasn't there with her struggling, it would be a difficult day for Anna, just being back in the city for the first time since she had to spend quite a lot of time there in the summer because her mum was sick. So we're a little bit nervous about the weekend. We've been putting it off for as long as we can, but like I say, the time has come. We've got to go. We've probably picked the worst weekend of the entire year to go because it's going to be full of Christmas shoppers. It's going to be super busy. We've already had a discussion about maybe if we're making some changes anyway, like if we're changing the routine and not getting on the bus, not going out to her mum's house, then perhaps it's better if we change loads of stuff and make it seem like a different trip to Andy. Don't make it, we drive in, we go to the park and ride, we do the same stuff in the same order, but then just don't do the last bit. Maybe we make it different right from the start, and also save us some stress of finding somewhere to park like a week and a half before Christmas in a major city on a Saturday afternoon. Maybe we'll get the train over. We're not sure if we're going to yet. It's not the cheapest thing in the world to do. For the three of us to get a return from Peterborough to Nottingham, it's going to be like 60 quid, which is obviously a lot more than driving there would cost, especially when you factor in parking in Peterborough as well. You're looking at and the trams when we get there. I mean, the trams you'd have to do anyway. But yeah, you're looking at like a £60 expenditure, saves us maybe £25, £30 off of petrol. So it's going to cost us a little bit more to do, but nothing major. It's something we could do if we decide it's what we want to do. But if we get the train over, it then becomes a different thing, a bit of an adventure. We're arriving in the city in a different way. We're arriving at a different place. Rather than driving to the Forest Park and Ride and getting on the tram there, we're getting the train into the centre of the city. We could get on the tram there, or we could do our city centre stuff while we're there and then go out on the tram and then come back, and then we have to finish off in the city to get back on the train. And I think it could have the potential to make the day run a lot smoother for Andy, because he's expecting it to be different because it started differently. I don't know if that psychology makes sense. I think it does to me. I think if I try to put myself in his position, I think that would make the whole day easier for me to understand. If it starts differently, okay, this isn't my usual trip. Whereas if he's got 3 hours that are identical to normal and then we try and change something, no matter how much we warned him about it, he's 9/10 of the way through his normal routine at that point, and it's going to be a major jolt when we bring him out of it. But I mean, Anna's raised the issue of, yeah, but that means we've got to go on a train. It's going to be cold. It's going to be waiting around. It's probably going to be just as busy on the train as it's going to be driving. We're going to be a little, if it does go completely wrong, it takes away the option of, I mean, as an example, let's say we're most of the way up to Hucknall on the trams, which is a good probably 25-minute tram ride away from the train station. If we're all the way up there and it goes wrong and Andy has a meltdown because the day isn't running the way it normally goes, which is really, really unlikely, but if it does go wrong and we've not got the car with us, what do? We don't have the option of me tram back down to the centre, grab the car, go up, pick them up, while Anna tries to keep him calm. So it's kind of, on the one side, I think it will have the potential to make the day run smoother for everybody. But on the other side, if something goes wrong, it will go more wrong because we don't have the safety net of just being able to jump in the car and come home. And we don't know what to do. And the other thing is, if we do go on the train, we don't want him to think that every time we go to Nottingham from now on we go on the train, because, like I say, an extra 30 quid on the trip isn't necessarily a big deal as a one-off. But if we get back into the routine of going 6, 8, 10 times a year, that's then becoming multiple hundreds of pounds extra on those trips over the course of the year if we have to go on the train every time, and that then becomes a little bit harder to justify doing. So we could be setting ourselves up for another battle when we go back again in February, for example, if he's then expecting to go on the trains, he really loves it. We'll keep you informed about what we're going to do, and obviously you'll see it on the video when it happens as well. It's just an extra, I thought it would be an interesting insight into some of the thought processes and some of the conversations we have to have as an autism family, that it would be really easy to take for granted if you weren't in our situation. It's just, oh, we're going to Nottingham, we'll figure it out on the day, we'll do whatever we do when we get there. It's just, everything has to be so planned, so regimented in advance, and he has to fully understand what he's doing. And that's the other thing, we've got to make this decision realistically today or tomorrow, because if we are going to be going on the train, we've got to start preparing him for that. Because if we just drop it on him Saturday morning, oh, by the way, we're going on the train, he's expecting his normal trip to Nottingham. As much as he likes trains, he will hate the fact that we've changed the trip at the last minute without warning him. Whereas if we start telling him now and get him excited about going on the train, then it will probably go better. I'm not sure what the right thing to do is. Feel free to share your thoughts down in the comments. I know I've been struggling to keep on top of replying to all the comments recently, but I do still read them all every day. They do still come up on my phone as notifications. So even if I'm not replying, even if I'm not getting the chance to stick a thumbs up on them, know that I am reading them. They are still helpful. The support is still appreciated. So feel free to share your thoughts on what you'd do down in the comments, and watch this space. We'll figure out what we're going to do at the weekend, and it will be a fun day whatever we do, but there's always that back of the mind thing of Anna's going to be finding this really hard, Andy's going to be finding it really hard, and I can't really help either of them, and that's always a rubbish situation to be in. But we'll worry about that when it happens. If you have enjoyed today's vlog, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for us. Subscribe to the channel for more daily vlogs, back to normal tomorrow as well, because Anna has just about finished all of her revision at this point, so we should be back to normal tomorrow. And thank you very much for watching.